Chapter 5. A Meeting at Sunsets. I backed slowly into the room, and the two visitors came with me, one on each side. My bag was in the way, and I fell over it and hit the floor. Sunset said,
"Hands in the air."
Two had suddenly turned to look at Sunset, and then I had my gun out, down at my side. There was a silence. I didn't hear any guns fall. The door was still wide open, and Sunset was flat against the wall behind it. The girl said between her teeth,
"Keep your gun on him, Rush. And shut the door. Nobody can shoot here."
Then, in a whisper that I could just hear, she said,
"Slam it."
Rush Manor walked backwards across the room, still pointing his gun at me. His back was to Sunset. He was not happy about that, but Sunset was almost smiling. Sunset stared at the girl, and she stared at him. Their guns stared at each other. Rush Manor reached the door, took hold of the edge of it, and pushed it hard. I knew what was going to happen. When the door slammed, the girl's gun was going to go off, and nobody would hear it. I reached for Carol's ankle and pulled it hard. The door slammed. Her gun went off and hit the ceiling. She turned on me, kicking wildly. Sunset said,
"If this is it, this is it. Let's go."
He lifted his gun. Something in his voice calmed her. She stepped back and let her gun fall to her side. Matter turned the key in the door. Nothing happened. Nobody came to the door. I put my gun away, got up, and looked out of the window. Nobody outside was interested in us. Carol said angrily to me,
"Is this guy working with you?"
I didn't answer. Her face slowly went red, and her eyes burned with anger. Matter put out a hand and said,
"Now listen, Carol. This isn't the way—" "Shut your mouth."
"Yeah, sure," Matter said. Sunset looked at the girl lazily. He looked very calm. He said slowly,
"We've heard about you too. What are you offering?"
The girl said,
"There's enough in it for 4.
Matter nodded quickly. Sunset looked at me. I nodded.
4 it is,"
he sighed.
"What, no more? We'll go to my place for a drink. I don't like it here."
Carol took a bag from under her arm and put her little gun in it. She smiled. She was pretty when she smiled.
"Okay,"
she said.
"I'll join you. Where is your place?" "Out on Water Street. We'll go in a taxi." "Let's go, then."
We went out of the room and down in the lift, and walked out of the hotel like 4 friends. The taxi took us along Capitol Way, past the town buildings. We turned onto a road that went towards the water, and soon we came to a house between tall trees. There was an untidy garden in front of it, and a very old car at the side. We got out and I paid the taxi. Sunset said,
"My place is upstairs. There's nobody at home down below. Let's go up and have a drink."
He threw open the door and pointed up the steps.
"Ladies first. Go on, beautiful. Nobody locks a door in this town."
The girl gave him a cool look and went in. I went next, then Matter, and Sunset last. We went up into a big room with a bed, a table, some chairs, and a radio. Sunset went into a small kitchen and came back with a bottle and some glasses. We each took a glass and sat down. Sunset drank his drink, put his glass down on the floor, and brought his hand up holding his gun. There was a sudden cold silence, and I saw Matter's mouth turn white. Carol moved her lips in a kind of smile. Then she sat forward, holding her glass on top of her bag with her left hand. Sunset said slowly and carefully, "Burn my friend's feet, huh? And you're stupid too. You burn a guy's feet to make him talk, then you walk right into his friend's house. Well, maybe it's Christmas, and you're the present." Matter's fat hands were shaking a little. "Oh, right," he said. What are you going to do to us?" The girl smiled a little, but she didn't say anything. Sunset grinned. "Do?" he said softly. "I think I'll tie you up with rope really hard. Then me and my friend will go looking for some pretty stones, pounds to you, and when we come back..." He stopped and pulled his finger across his neck. "Like the idea?" he said to me. "Yeah, but don't make a song about it," I said. "Where's the rope?" "In the cupboard," said Sunset, and pointed with one ear at the corner. I started walking to the cupboard. Suddenly, Matter made a little thin noise, and his eyes turned up in his head, and he fell forward off his chair in a faint. That made Sunset jump, and his right hand moved round until his gun was pointing down at Matter's back. The girl put her hand under her bag. The gun that she had hidden there made a short, sudden noise. Sunset's gun fell out of his hand. His head fell back, and his face tried to look at the ceiling. His long legs went out in front of him, and he sat like that, his head back and his eyes looking up, dead as a burnt match. I kicked the girl's chair out from under her, and she fell off it onto her side. I stood on her hand and then kicked her gun across the room. I kicked her bag after it, with her other gun inside it. She screamed at me. "Get up," I said. She got up slowly and backed away from me to the wall, with a crazy light in her eyes and showing her teeth like a wild animal. I went over to a door. There was a bathroom behind it. I waved my hand at Carol. "In." She walked across the floor and in front of me, very close. "Listen a minute." I pushed her through the door, slammed it, and turned the key. The bathroom had a window, and she could jump out, but I didn't care. I went across to Sunset and felt his pockets. There were some keys on a ring, and one of them was a car key. I looked at Matter, noticed that his fingers were as white as snow, then went downstairs and out of the house. I got into the old car and put the key in the lock. It fitted. It took a while before I could get the car started and drive it down to the road. Nothing moved in the house. The tall trees around it waved in the wind, and the cold, heartless sunlight shone through their branches as they moved. I drove as fast as I could back to Capitol Way, past the Snoqualmie Hotel, and over the bridge towards the sea and Westport.